When my mind is troubled and I don't want to do anything, I sometimes find solace in the teachings of the Buddha to regain my composure, even if it means doing nothing at all. There are times when I just want to lie down. There are many things I need to do, but I can't bring myself to do them. On days when I don't even want to respond to anyone who approaches me, I hide away in the shade. It's not that I'm in pain, or that someone has hurt me. It's just that my heart feels so exhausted. I don't want to do anything, and I don't want to talk to anyone. Are you perhaps spending a day like that, wanting to be quietly alone? The Buddha said that when the mind becomes clouded, do not force it away, but rather observe it quietly for a moment. In the stillness, the mind finds its center again, and blessings reside at that center. This moment, the lethargy you are feeling deep within your heart, this emptiness, this tiredness, and this feeling of not wanting to do anything is not laziness or weakness. It is a signal that your heart needs to stop now. It is too hard to continue like this, and you are quietly crying to protect yourself. Today's video aims to accept that signal as it is, without suppressing it, and to find a way to regain flow within it through the teachings of the Buddha. For now, close your eyes and listen quietly. It's okay not to speak. It's okay not to try too hard. Wherever your heart is right now, this moment will become a small prayer light that gradually releases that heart. The first story. Why do we feel like doing nothing? The root of that feeling is what people say. It's all about your mindset. If you cheer up, everything will be fine. You need to have willpower. But on days when my heart is troubled, even such words feel burdensome. Sometimes those words do not provide comfort, but instead lead to deeper self-blame. Am I really such a powerless person? Why do I have no willpower like this? However, the Buddha did not see that heart as weak. When the mind is tired, you should stop running and quietly reflect. On days when you don't want to do anything, it's not just laziness, it's mental exhaustion. When emotions are drained, motivation withers, and even oneself feels unfamiliar, we need to practice acknowledging ourselves as we are, rather than succumbing to the compulsion to do something. Just like a pencil lead that is pressed too hard and often eventually breaks, has your heart also been struggling, enduring and holding back for too long? You had to smile and say everything is fine, and you had to endure alone, thinking you would overcome it. Now it's okay to tell your heart to stop. The Buddha's teaching suffering does not disappear on its own. However, when you quietly look into it, suffering no longer feels like suffering. When your mind is troubled, don't think you have to force yourself to be motivated. Feeling troubled might be your mind, telling you that it's okay not to be okay right now. In such times, having the courage to accept things as they are is often more important than trying to change anything. When your heart doesn't want to settle anywhere, stopping can become a new beginning. Next story. A real case of a weary disciple who came to the Buddha. One day, a disciple said to the Buddha, "Master, I have no motivation. I can't grasp anything, neither practice, prayer, nor study." The Buddha quietly looked into his eyes and spoke. Neither the moon nor the sun rises every day. Sometimes, just like clouds take a break, the heart can also simply stay beneath the clouds. Only then did the disciple shed tears and say, "I thought I was weak. However, I did not know that rest is a blessing. If today is the day to stay under that cloud, then that's perfectly fine. It's okay to fall apart. It's okay to lie down. And even if you do nothing, the Buddha embraces that heart as well." The second story. What the Buddha first advised when feeling troubled. When we feel restless and don't want to do anything, we instinctively try to do something. We might open a book, go out for exercise, or force ourselves to have a conversation with someone. However, the more we do this, the more tangled our minds become, and our thoughts become more scattered, leading us to mutter at some point, "Ugh, I just can't be bothered." What did the Buddha say we should do in such times? You did not tell me to do anything, rather. You told me not to do anything. Stopping the chaotic mind is the first practice. This is the practice of stopping. To stop does not mean to do nothing. It means to stay as it is without forcibly resisting the flow. That is happening within me right now. This is the first step in mastering the mind as taught by the Buddha. The teachings in the scriptures say that moving water does not reflect only when it is still. Can you truly see what is within? It is about sitting quietly and observing. That is the beginning of wisdom. It is the practice of observing the mind, simply seeing it as it is. The Buddha said so. Do not try to eliminate suffering instead. See suffering as it is. It's okay if you don't strive to analyze the reasons for your anxiety right now. Rather, it is more important to practice observing that feeling without judgment and without responsibility. Practice method, look into your heart. Sit in a quiet space, just sit still, close your eyes, and recall your current emotions. I wonder where my heart is right now, whether I'm angry, anxious, empty, or hollow. I don't try to change those feelings. I don't say things like, "It will be okay," or "Let's get through this." I simply acknowledge that this is how I feel right now. Take a moment to breathe, inhale deeply, and imagine that feeling flowing out as I exhale. I will tell you the story of the Buddha and his disciple. To a worried disciple, one disciple said during meditation, "Master, I cannot stay still at all. My thoughts are many and my heart is restless, so I can't meditate properly." The Buddha quietly spoke to his disciple. Then don't avoid that anxious feeling instead. Sit there and observe it. Watch quietly where that feeling comes from and how far it spreads. The disciple stays with that anxiety for several days and finally experiences the gradual settling of the mind. Anxiety was not something to be eliminated, but rather a guest that needed to be embraced and sat with. A small habit that creates a calm day. If you are feeling lethargic and troubled today, try just this one thing today. Spend 10 minutes doing nothing and staying with your thoughts. Just sit, sip your coffee, and don't try to reduce your words or stop your thoughts. Simply acknowledge that your mind is a bit troubled right now. In that moment, your mind will no longer drift away. From that place of stillness, blessings begin to bloom again. The third story, on a day when you don't want to do anything. The power of doing even one small good deed. On days when I'm troubled, everything I have to do feels heavy. Even washing the dishes or replying to a text feels overwhelming. A sigh escapes me first. At times like this, people either try to put everything down at once or force themselves to do it all, only to end up collapsing even more. The Buddha said to do just one thing on such days. A small act of gratitude gathers a scattered mind. When your heart is shaken, imagine doing a small task, like washing your hands in cold water as a way to cleanse your mind. Silently, watch the water flow along my fingertips and imagine the impurities of my heart being washed away. This is not just a simple cleansing. It becomes a ritual for the heart. Today, try saying thank you to just one person. Even when I am tired and exhausted, the fastest way to change the energy within me is to let words of gratitude flow from my mouth. Gratitude is a word for that person, but it is also a virtue that clears my own energy. When feeling lethargic, prepare a meal for myself with care. It should not be a hurried, haphazard meal, but rather a quiet act of preparing even a cup of tea or a bowl of rice with my heart in it. Just this one act can begin to stabilize my mind. A tidy meal organizes a scattered mind. I will share a story from the Buddha's teachings. A woman lived for several months in extreme lethargy. She lay down all day and had no strength to do anything. Sometimes, when she felt down, she remembered a small temple that was along the path. She used to walk alone. That day, her steps quietly headed towards the temple. The autumn sunlight was gently resting in the temple courtyard, and the leaves of the persimmon tree next to the stairs were softly swaying in the wind. She sat silently in front of the Buddha and began to express the words she had kept in her heart without saying a word. It was okay if she didn't know how to pray well. It was okay if she didn't know what to wish for. I quietly bowed my head, asking not to hate just today, and not to blame this heart. In that moment, it felt like something was being released, and a calmness that I had been waiting for a long time quietly settled in her heart, hearing the Buddha's words to try just one small thing. That day, I simply sat and watched the sunlight coming through the door, something I usually didn't do. She says that in that moment, she felt something warm seeping into her heart. Since then, she boiled a small pot and did one dish each day, practicing a single act of virtue for herself. A few weeks later, her eyes became brighter than before, and she was gradually able to walk out of her lethargy. Instead of the many tasks to do on a lethargic day, choose one that brings you blessings. Choose just one action. That small act of virtue will gather your scattered mind, clear the chaotic energy, and allow your day to flow with blessings once again. The fourth story, a prayer when the heart is weary. Comfort that reaches further than words. On days when my heart is troubled, I don't even want to speak, and confiding in someone feels burdensome. Even when someone says, just try praying, there are days when that prayer feels overwhelming. What should I pray for? How should I wish for my troubled heart to be eased? Does the Buddha recognize this heart right now? The Buddha once told a disciple, for the sake of such people, prayer is not about gaining something, but about organizing the heart. When the heart is calm, blessings flow naturally. Prayer is not a request, but the light of the heart. People often see prayer as making wishes, but the prayer the Buddha spoke of was not a spell to attract blessings, but a practice to purify the heart. When the heart is calm, prayer resonates, and when the heart is clouded, prayer fades away without an echo. A prayer offered in distress must begin with purifying that troubled heart. The story of the second life, the story of a mother who transformed her troubled heart into prayer. There was a mother who, after her divorce, was struggling to raise her 2 children alone. One day, she suddenly felt everything crumbling around her. The children were not listening, money had run out, and her health was failing. She said, I couldn't even pray. I was sitting there crying, and these words just came out of my mouth. Please don't let me hate this day. At that moment, she said her prayer burst forth. It wasn't a wish for something, but a heartfelt request to accept the current state as it is. After that, she began to organize her thoughts with a short prayer every morning. Today, I am grateful to be alive. Please don't let me hate myself today. That prayer didn't change her day, but it began to slowly heal her heart. 3 short prayers I can offer on a lethargic day. When my emotions are troubled, please give me a place for this heart to rest. Please don't let my emotions control me when I'm feeling lethargic and don't want to do anything. Even let me accept today, when I am lonely, let me remember that there is a compassionate heart that accompanies me even in this silence. One day, a weary-faced disciple spoke to the Buddha. Master, I do not even have the strength to pray. The Buddha replied, you do not need to say anything right now. You are already praying. The very fact that your heart is aching is itself knocking on the door to the Buddha. The disciple then bowed his head and began to pray through his tears. A prayer for meditation, a prayer offered on a troubled day to find a way for the heart to flow. It's okay if your heart wavers today. It's okay to have complicated emotions and many thoughts. Please help me to embrace this heart as it is, without trying to forcefully change it. Even if the day is heavy and my body feels weighed down, I pray that a small warm energy blooms within me. And even if this prayer cannot reach far, let the very act of being able to pray become the strength that sustains me. Prayer doesn't have to be loud. It's okay if it doesn't call forth miracles. Simply acknowledging who I am right now and quietly opening my heart to the Buddha is the first prayer that allows blessings to begin to flow. The 5th story, a day to restore blessings through a single act of merit. Some days prayers don't go well, and even when I sit still, my mind doesn't become calm. In such times, practicing a small act of merit, in the way the Buddha taught, can be the first step to moving the heart and restoring the flow of life energy. When the body moves, energy flows, and when energy flows, blessings dwell. The Buddha said, practicing 5 acts of merit, 1 each day. The pure act of washing hands with care. At any time during the day, Don't just wash your hands with water, but wash them with sincerity, saying this in your heart. With this hand, may I not harm others today. With this hand, may I create blessings. Purification begins in the heart, but is realized at the fingertips. This brief action clears the energy flowing through my body. A meal imbued with calmness. The busier you are, the more you should. Cultivate the habit of eating at least one meal quietly. Whether eating with someone or alone, chew and swallow with a grateful heart in silence. This food is someone's sweat and a blessing granted to me. Eating with this mindset becomes a practice that calms greed and irritation, expressing emotions through actions instead of words. On days when I feel powerless, my heart may be screaming inside, but it can be hard to voice it. In those moments, try conveying your feelings through actions instead of words. Brew a cup of tea and quietly serve it to your family. Leave a small note instead of saying thank you. Write to yourself, "You did well today." Actions often speak louder than words. That becomes virtue even on days when I feel too lethargic to organize well. Tidying up a corner of the room, a drawer in my desk, or a refrigerator door awakens the flow within. Try this small act of tidying up when the outside is neat. The inner corridor flows along with it. A cluttered space keeps lethargic energy stagnant, but an organized place becomes a vessel for energy to circulate. A sentence a day, wishing for good fortune. A habit of wishing well for someone other than myself. I hope that person finds peace today, and that good things happen to that child I passed by. May the person who troubled me also be blessed. This sentence is the beginning of compassion and a practice that changes my energy. There was a man whose life flowed again through a single act of merit from a past life. After months of lethargy, I took a leave of absence from work, cut off contact with people, and lay in my room every day. One day, after reading someone's post, I decided to try doing one small positive action each day. On the first day, he simply opened the window. The next day, he turned off the lights and tidied up the room. The day after that, he handed a glass of water to his mother. These small actions revitalized him, and a few weeks later, he began writing for an hour each day, gradually preparing to return to work and reconnecting with the world. A lethargic mind is hard to change with thoughts alone. However, one act of sincerity, one merit, or one practice each day can quietly lift that mind. One small but clear act of merit each day will guide your scattered life back to blessings. The next story is about words that attract blessings and the habit of maintaining the energy of those words. Once blessings arise, it is not about staying until the end. It flows like a breeze in the hallway and moves like energy. Therefore, when the energy begins to flow again, we must cultivate the habit of protecting it well with our words. The Buddha said, "The mouth is the door through which blessings come and go." The quieter your words, the longer blessings stay, and the rougher your words, the quicker blessings leave. Moments when words scatter the energy. When life begins to flow little by little after overcoming lethargy, we often unconsciously say words that disrupt that flow, thinking, "It will be hard again anyway. Why do I always end up like this?" Even when something good happens, it doesn't last long. Such words are a language that rejects one's own energy. Words are vibrations, waves, and energy. Those words leave a resonance that tunes my life again. The three characteristics of words where blessings reside, rather than "it's okay," it's okay as it is right now. It's not about forcing positivity, but about accepting existence. Instead of saying "I can't," it's about allowing time to stay in the present. It's not about being definitive, but about opening up the flow of language. The power of thank you can change the direction of your entire life with just one utterance a day. 5 phrases you can use when your mind starts to feel chaotic again. Just the fact that my breath is here at this moment is enough. Even if the day is complicated, I am here now, emotions pass by, and my heart can become clear again. Little by little, I am disappearing again. The blessing has already been residing within me. Such words are not self-suggestion, but an offering of words filled with compassion and sincerity. I will share a real-life story about a woman whose life changed by changing her verbal habits. She said she endured life for years with lethargy and depression. One day, she started the habit of saying thank you 3 times a day and told herself every day, "You did well today." Even if she endured while lying down, that was still endurance. As her words accumulated, her energy gradually changed, and she was able to start doing small things again. She said, "To live, the words someone else says are important, but the words I say to myself are the most important. Blessings do not come from big and good events, but from recognizing myself as I am and living quietly within that flow. And the habit of speaking that does not disturb that flow will lead you to a blessed place for a longer time." The final story, a heart stepping back into life. The prayer of transformation conveyed by the Buddha. Some darkness quietly melts away, and only then is it truly ready to embrace the light. During those times when the heart is troubled and nothing seems appealing, it is because we have experienced those moments that we can now gradually nurture the desire to live again. But then another fear arises. What if I crumble again just as I'm starting to feel better? What if this energy doesn't last long? At such times, the Buddha said to his disciples, "The place where blessings reside is not a hardened heart, but a tranquil heart." It's okay to be shaken, and it's okay to pause. Those who step out again are blessed in themselves. A prayer offered at the turning point of life as you stand before a new day. I hope the Buddha's compassion rests upon you. Let us meditate on this prayer together. A prayer for starting anew today. I walk through a day that is the same as yesterday, but my heart is different from yesterday. Today, I can comfort myself a little more and blame myself a little less. Life is still unfamiliar, and my energy is not complete. But may I expand the space within me where blessings can dwell day by day. Help me not to hate today, and to realize that simply being alive is enough. And even if this heart becomes dark again, may that moment of remembering the Buddha allow blessings to flow once more. There was a man who welcomed the moment of transformation in a real-life story with prayer. On a day when he wanted to let everything go amidst deep feelings of loss and failure, he wrote this prayer and burst into tears. He says, "It wasn't that I was holding on to live well. Simply praying not to hate this day became the strength to live again. Life flows again. Until now, we have stopped, cried, prayed, changed our words, and practiced small virtues. All of this was not to create a better version of myself, but a journey to embrace the me that can live as I am. Blessings do not come in large waves, but quietly linger in small ways. I flow according to your heart. Those who walk again have already entered the path of blessings. If today has been a difficult day for you, remember that your heart is the place where blessings begin. The very desire to walk again will make you blessed. I sincerely hope this video has become a small light on that journey. May you attain enlightenment. This was the channel of Moonlight. Have a peaceful day.